25 Most Ridiculous Arguments in Court. According to Reddit. Number 25. Lawyer. I was waiting in court one day for a hearing while a judge was listening to a defamation case between co-workers in small claims court. Neither the plaintiff or the defendant was represented by an attorney. The plaintiff had sued the defendant over defamation at their job. The plaintiff said that these two were co-workers at the same company, and one night the defendant told their mutual boss that the plaintiff was sleeping on the job. Since it was small claims court, it was fairly informal, so the judge looks over at the defendant and says, "Did you tell your boss she was sleeping on the job?" The defendant says, "Yes, I did." Okay. The judge asked her why she told the boss and she says, "Because our boss asked where she was and it didn't matter. We are allowed to sleep on the job." The judge looked at her sort of strangely and said, "You're allowed to sleep on the job?" And the defendant said, "Yes, there are 4 people who work our shift, but only 3 areas that need to be covered. So we rotate on our shifts between the areas, and there's always one person who isn't covering one of the 3 areas, and that person is allowed to sleep in the back room if they want." Okay. The judge looks over at the plaintiff and says, "Is that true? Are you allowed to sleep on the job?" The plaintiff says, "Yes, that's true. But we used to be good friends." And she went on and ran her mouth, and she shouldn't have done that. The judge sort of ignores her and says, "If you're allowed to sleep on the job, then I'm presuming you didn't get in trouble for sleeping on the job." The plaintiff says, "No, I didn't get in any trouble because I was allowed to be sleeping." Wow, look at these dumb hoes. The judge then spent a few minutes explaining to her that the truth is a defense to defamation, and that it sounds like the plaintiff told the truth. That even if they weren't the case, she had no damages because she didn't get into any sort of trouble since they were allowed to sleep on the job, and to try to keep that job as long as possible since you're apparently getting paid to motherfucking sleep. You feel me? Holy crap. So she just told the truth. You know what I mean? She was like, she told the truth. "Oh, you can't say that. That's defaming me." But it's the truth. And you were sleeping back there. Come on now. Women in the first one that I picked. My God. I'm not going to start proofreading these. Where's the fun in that? Number 24. As with everyone else in this thread, I am not a lawyer, but did work in court. This guy was a lawyer. So what are you talking about, you jizz licker? Had multiple mothers in separate cases claim that they couldn't be sent to prison because it breached their European rights to a family life. I can only assume that they got it from something like the Daily Mail, which is a ridiculous newspaper, which is kind of like the tabloid crap that you'd expect to see like Bat Boy or some kind of mummy coming to life on in the grocery store aisle, because they all use that same phrasing. Is this it? Somebody upvoted this trash? Thanks for wasting my time. Number 23, not a lawyer, but I was in traffic court and a cab driver had got a ticket for running a red light. He argued that it was really difficult to see the sun because the sun was rising and the light was right in his eyes. He was traveling west. Oh, that's not where the sun rises. Comments on this says that sounds like a Phoenix Wright attorney case. Hold it, slams the hand on desk. For those who aren't aware, Phoenix Wright Attorney is a video game for the Nintendo DS. It gained a lot of traction back in the day. You were an attorney and you would listen to people's stories and be forced to scrutinize their stories for holes. And when they said something that didn't quite add up, you would press a button, you'd slam your hand on the desk, you'd point your finger and you'd say objection. You know what I mean? It's pretty good because, well, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing where you're listening to people and they're talking bullshit, you know. I can't believe we actually had a video game to call people out on their bullshit, but hey, it made us better people. Number 22, I had a former employee fired for rampant and blatant stealing. She actually quit the when presented with evidence. She sued me for $10,000 for lost wages since she couldn't find the job because she was scared I would badmouth her if she put me down for a reference. She had also been turning tricks right out of the office for extra cash. God damn, ho. You better spread them legs. Somebody's like, turning tricks? What does that mean? Goo goo gaga. Where are y'all growing up? Y'all don't know what the hell's going on in the world. Number 21. I'm a prosecutor now, but I used to have a private practice where I did a lot of evictions. My usual landlord clients wouldn't even come into my office until their tenants had been behind for months. And most of the time, the tenants were defiant in their non-payment, so it wasn't difficult to take pity on them. Oh, to not take pity on them, yeah. If they don't give a damn and they're not paying. Anyway, one tenant was particularly, a dumb guy. He usually came to court dressed in a wife beater and cut off jeans. We had a trial date set, so my client and I showed up. The tenant did not. At the last second before the judge entered a default, when the person doesn't show up, some woman comes bursting into the courtroom and yells, "Daryl's on the phone." Daryl. That's going to be the new dude that I just make an idiot, like a bystander. Instead of Steve, it'll be Daryl. Look out for Daryl in upcoming videos. The judge allows her to bring the phone up and we put the tenant on speaker. He proceeds to ask the judge to delay the trial for 1 week because my brother got his head knocked inside out and is probably gonna die. I didn't buy it, but the client knew Daryl well enough to sense the stress and fear in his voice. I told the judge that we would allow the continuance, but only until the next available court day. The judge set it for 1 week out. Wow, that's the next available court day. Isn't the legal system a nightmare? I still didn't believe Daryl until the night my grandfather was in an accident and we had to rush him to the hospital. As we're walking up the hallway, I see Daryl in a room with a bunch of people who dressed like him enough to obviously be family. When we get to my grandpa's room, he ended up being not seriously injured as we originally feared. The first thing he says is, "You'll never guess what happened to the guy down the hall. Nurse told me his idiot brother dropped a tractor bucket on his head and cracked it open like an egg. He's in a coma now." Oh, Daryl. Oh, Daryl. I relayed the news to my client and she felt sorry enough for Daryl that we signed an agreement stating that he would be cleared out within 15 days and we would forgive all of the back rent owed. Oh, wow. So this was a ridiculous argument, but it was true. My brother got his head knocked inside out and is probably gonna die, but you did it, Daryl. Daryl? Number 20, man. Am a lawyer. Okay, but this happened a little prior to me starting my current job, so this is secondhand. A friend of mine is an AUSA and last year prosecuted several chiropractors for insurance fraud. Ooh, insurance fraud is no game, baby. Turns out they were sovereign citizen types who insisted on representing themselves, and at one point a defendant got up to the lectern and started lecturing the federal judge that because there was a fringe on the flag in the court was an admiralty court lacking jurisdiction over him. Bizarre. Later pled out and all are serving time. Hilarious. They're all serving time. But let me tell you about this flag, bro. You actually have no jurisdiction over me. I'm the chosen one. I've read a couple of stories on the internet, a couple of creepypastas, and I know what's going to be waiting for you at home. Number 19. Several years ago, I was doing a civil trial, personal injury, defending a woman who allegedly hit a bus matron with her car. Holy balls. We had offered to concede liability and try damages. In other words, the jury wouldn't hear the circumstances of how the injury happened. They just agreed that my client caused the injury and they would only decide the amount of damages, and we had evidence that the plaintiff was significantly exaggerating her injuries. The plaintiff's attorney refused to agree to our concession, thinking that if the jury heard the circumstances, they'd want to give even more money to punish the client. Okay. So, we went to trial on liability. The plaintiff called on the witness, her client, who testified that an older woman in a green car hit her. They rested, and I moved for a dismissal for failure to prove a case. There was literally no evidence connecting my client to this incident, just an older woman in a green car. The plaintiff never bothered to call my client to the stand. The attorney told the judge that the bus driver had written down my client's license plate and gave it to the police. They never bothered trying to find the bus driver. The attorney asked if she could just put the police report in, and I objected that it was hearsay. The attorney then actually said, "Please just let me put this in. I haven't had work in a while and I got retained by my firm to try this case. I really need to win this." Of course I didn't agree, and the judge dismissed this case. I felt a little bad for her, but that was maybe the worst presentation of a case I've ever seen. I spoke with a jury afterwards, and they all said that they hated the plaintiff, didn't believe a word she said, and likely would have found her in my favor anyway. Oh my God. Moral of the story, be prepared in court. Oh my God. My God. My God, my God. Number 18. Not a lawyer, but when my mom was killed by a drunk driver, we were filing a wrongful death suit, and the lawyer for the defense used my mom's cancer to say that she was going to die anyway, so a wrongful death dispensation was not owed. Wow, dude, lawyers have a rep of being fucking monsters, you know what I mean? But Jesus Christ. Somebody said that's like a court case where the mom of a kid who murdered an old man said the man was old anyway, and he was probably gonna die soon. This caused a fist fight out in the hallway between the two families. Sorry about your mom. That lawyer's an asshole. Guys, let's go. Number 17, prosecutor here, had a case where a man raped his 6-year-old daughter. We're in another fucking thread, and I gotta deal with kid rape still. What is it fucking going on here, man? This one's gonna be short today, man. I apologize. Kid rape. God damn. Prosecutor here had a case where a man raped his 6-year-old daughter because she wore suggestive clothing and seemed to be asking for it. Could this get worse? Keep getting worse. He tried to argue that, girls are just sexually attractive at a younger age now. 6? What the fuck? The man got convicted and is now serving 2 life sentences, plus 100 years. It won't be enough. They ought to torture this ass. And please, God, let it get out in prison that this dude raped his 6-year-old. You know what I mean? Not just a 6-year-old, his 6-year-old motherfucking daughter, dude. Okay? What the fuck? Convicted of 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of incest, 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. Oh my God. Look, I'm just saying, they find out in prison, this asshole's gonna get what he deserves. Street justice. Or bar justice, I don't know. You get like the prison bars, you get it. Number 16, I'm an attorney. Okay. I was in private practice for years, and I'm a forcible felony public defender now. Hold your booze, please. About a dozen times a year, I get a client who wants to allege posse comitatus, or posse comitatus, sovereign state, living man argument in court. What the fuck does any of this mean? When I refuse to file their frivolous kook motions, they file them pro se and demand to argue them to the judge. They are all ridiculous. I tell them to provide me a case or jurisdiction the argument has ever worked, to be pragmatic about it, regardless of the merit to it, reasoning with them that it only works about 10% of the time. The dumbest specific argument I can recall was a defense in a murder trial where they alleged the victim was trying to commit suicide by gay rape. Suicide by gay rape. Basically, he wanted to die and wanted to incite this straight friend to his to kill him by trying to rape him. They had agreed to mutual oral, but the defendant said the victim was going for anal. His straight friend? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't even need to ask you, you know? Because it's like, okay, there are dudes out there that are trying so hard to be passable females, you know? There's so many dudes trying to live their life as like a woman. They'll never be a woman. You'll never have a baby will come out of you because you're not genetically, anatomically what you're trying to be, regardless of whatever surgery you have. But like by definition, you know what I mean? You're not a woman. And by definition, how are people straight, you know, as in heterosexual, and giving blowjobs to other men? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry this shit blows my mind so hard. It just throws me out of the mood to where's my fuck? Suicide by gay rape. Let's throw that up in the fucking tabs up here. Suicide. I couldn't do better than this. Suicide by gay rape. What the fuck? That's gotta be oh man, I gotta make a song called Suicide by Gay Rape. Fuck yeah. That's metal. They had agreed to mutual oral, but the defendant said the victim was going for anal. I wasn't involved, but I spoke to the blood spatter expert for the police about it one day, and his quote was, "Who brings a shotgun to a blowjob?" Oh God. Who brings a shotgun to a blowjob, baby? Number 15. Defendant pro se without an attorney pleading guilty to a minor drug charge after rejecting a plea deal where if she took a urine test every month for a year and passed each time, the charge would be dropped. Judge, why didn't you take the offer the prosecutor initially gave you? The defendant said, my body, my choice. Well, actual lawyer here saying this kind of thing is quite common. People who know they're not going to stop taking drugs refuse to sign up for programs, even though those programs are designed to help. Addiction is a hell of a thing. It's not just that, homie. Like, a lot of people consider not being able to drink and smoke and do whatever kind of boring. And I agree, you know what I mean? As long as weed is not legal, like, because they just keep finding a way to make money off of the people and have weed not be legal, like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. It is just stupid. People can go away for having prescription drugs, you know, and not having the documentation to back that up. Like, what? We're not cooking meth, dude. We're not selling to kids out here. You know, there is make the punishment fit the crime. We caught you with this fingernail size bag of what? You going to jail, boy. 60 years. Number 14, also a lawyer, had opposing counsel try to argue that because a landlady had written on her eviction notice, "It has been a pleasure getting to know you, but please leave," that testified they were awful tenants that she hated. Okay. She was dishonest and nothing she said could be trusted. Open the question of dishonesty wide open. Although the landlady wasn't an angel, tenants had an enormous string of fraud priors we could tell the court about as a result. Look, the UK is fucking confusing when it comes to the law. Get out of here. Get out of my face. I didn't want you UK lawyers in here. These questions are for Americans. All right. Number 13. This never made it to court. I asked my divorce lawyer that what was wrong or what was the worst thing a client had asked him to argue. I was expecting like, I want the salad spinner sort of story. He said he had a client, a professor in his 70s who was divorcing from his wife, who was also a professor and in her 70s. They were both Jewish. His wife had a tattoo on her arm. It was a number. Oh no. Put there by the Nazis when they put her in a concentration camp in World War II as a child. The husband was born in the US. He was not German. The German government was in the process of settling a case with the survivors. She had some amount of money, a 6-figure sum, and due to her. The husband wanted his lawyer to argue that he should get half the settlement money. The lawyer told him that there was a special circle in hell for lawyers who ask for stuff like that, and that he was not planning on ending up here. Wow. You wanted her Holocaust money, dude? She survived the Holocaust, where they were exterminating humans like we might roaches or ants? And you wanted that money because of a divorce, bro? You give the Jews the bad reputation they need to lose. But hey, baby, you are that kind of Jew. Number 12. Kid rape, Jews trying to steal Holocaust money, suicide by gay rape. Number 12. Not a lawyer, but was a child in custody case. But was the child in a custody case between my parents. Aw. My mother's lawyer argued for and had put in the final agreement that I had to add my mother as a Facebook friend. This was 7 years ago. We are still not friends on Facebook. And she's blocked on everything I have an account for. Damn. Somebody said, I am also a child of divorced parents. The stupidity knows no bounds. Buckle up, man, and remember that they aren't you. Do you and let them do what is right for them. This is something that everybody with parents needs to understand is like, hey, you're you. Live your life. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt yourself. And the sooner you're out, the better. At least it's a lesson that you can learn. So you'll always be able to say that at least in one way, you can do something that they can't. Because most parents are incapable of realizing that you are not them. They're not gonna do. Your parents won't understand when you do things. They won't understand when you say things because in their head, that's not what they would do. That's not what they would say. So how can anybody else exist in the world that would do or say things that they wouldn't? You know what I mean? So when you gain some perspective and reach a point where you see that everybody around you is not like you, there's war in the world because people disagree because they're not the same, then you will have reached at least a first tier of enlightenment. Number 11, law student here. Former professor's story. The defendant busted for possessions of narcotics. They were in the pocket of his leather jacket. He argues the search was illegal because with his buttery smooth leather jacket, there's no way the officer would have felt the drugs in the pocket during a pat-down. so he shouldn't have reached in the pocket to find the drugs in the first place. The judge asked if the jacket is the one he was currently wearing in court. It was. The judge asked to feel the jacket and the pockets. The defendant hands it to the bailiff. Judge finds more drugs in the pocket. Needless to say, it didn't go well for him. There was more drugs in the same pocket. Somebody said, out of all the comments I've read, this is my favorite. You have got to be fucking kidding me. Somebody else wrote, gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Worse, stupider, dumber. That's really fucking pathetic, man. With my buttery smooth leather jacket. Number 10, I was in the public gallery for this while studying law. I was not the lawyer. Leeds Crown Court back in the early 90s. That doesn't sound American. 75-year-old foreign, yes, this is important, man, was facing a preliminary hearing relating to charges that he had sexually touched the 13-year-old relative. His barrister made a successful plea for bail based upon this man being an established pillar of the immigrant community. And the judge asked the old man if he had anything to say before he was bailed until the next hearing. He made 2 comments. She was wearing a very, very tight shorts, and I thought I should not be held responsible because no real man could resist seeing something like that. The judge reminded him this was a preliminary hearing, not a trial, so he should wait until the trial to argue his case, especially statements that are far more exculpatory and are better suited to mitigation. Number 2, I cannot reappear in a month because I am flying back to my home country tomorrow and will not be coming back. The barrister appeared to be just as surprised as the rest of us. The judge ordered the defendant's passport seized, and he was remanded in custody until his trial. You made yourself a flight risk by opening your mouth, dude. When they were letting your ass go on bail, they're letting you out on bail, and you're opening your mouth and going, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You'll never see me again. Get that man. Jesus Christ. Do you have anything to add before I let you go? Yes, I deserve to be found guilty and would like to be denied bail. Oh my God. Number 9. I am a lawyer. I had a female inmate claim she was molested by one of the guards. Happens all the time. Happens to the male inmates as well. Oh, bing bong. One of her most damning pieces of testimony was testifying to this large vertical scar he had on his chest from a heart operation. She continued to say that she remembered this huge scar from when he molested her. The guard got on the stand, took off his shirt, and he had a tiny horizontal scar up his shoulder. Case over. He had apparently told her one time that he had surgery, and she assumed it would have left this giant scar and used that to make up her story. Oh no. Well, poor girl. Why she gotta lie like that though? Number 8. I have a brief encounter. Personal injury prospect. Old lady slipped and fell on an icy driveway which was not salted or maintained, so she wanted to sue for damages. After hearing the story, it turns out the lady fell on her own driveway which she did not salt or maintain. She was wanting to sue herself. Stupid. Number 7, not so much ridiculous as ghastly, but a man accused of raping his own daughter. I'm gonna read a list tomorrow, and I swear to fucking God, let there be one kid rape story in the list, and I'm taking a break from these. A man accused of raping his own daughter, saying he couldn't have done so because he had a 9-inch cock and it would have caused her damage. and that the physical signs of sexual activity that she did exhibit were because she'd been screwing the family dog. I don't do criminal law anymore. That was enough for me. Lots of people are asking what happened. Should probably have put that in there originally. I'd left the firm by the time it actually got to trial, but was kept in the loop about the case by my friend still there. He was found guilty and went off to prison. Well, good for him. Good for the girl, too. Fuck me, man. Number 6, traffic court, speeding ticket. Your Honor, I didn't speed, and I can prove it with logic. Okay, says the judge. I drive a Prius. Oh. Lady, that proves I'm responsible, specifically in the realm of cars, so I obviously wouldn't speed. She had to pay the ticket. I drive a Prius. That was a defense. That was a real defense. I drive a Prius, so I'm obviously responsible. God's gift to the world here. I didn't think that Prius drivers were that pretentious, but apparently they are. Number 5, made a left turn on a green turn arrow. Left turn? This must be a foreigner. You know, if I'm going to read her list tomorrow, and if I get more of these fucking foreigner, I'm kidding. A city bus ran a red and T-boned me. My car was a little VW Rabbit, so it just scooted me and I was perfectly fine. The driver pulls over, comes out and says, "The sun was in my eyes." And I say, "I'm not hurt. Thanks for asking." Police arrive, and guess what? There was literally a busload full of witnesses. Everyone had the same story. She ran a red. The city paid for my car, and she denied wrongdoing and went to court, which I had to attend along with a witness or two and the officer. Her defense, that she had a migraine. The judge, so I should let you off the hook because you had a bad headache and was driving into the sun? Driver says, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm glad you understand." She got her commercial vehicle license revoked. Should have just taken the points. Somebody said, how does a VW Rabbit get T-boned by a bus and you come out fine? They say it was crazy. It kind of picked my car up and scooted it like 20 feet. Didn't bend the frame, only dented the passenger side a bit. I had a plate of cookies on my passenger seat covered in plastic that fell on the floor, and I ate them when I waited for the cops. Somebody says, you're lucky to be alive. That's insane. Well, when it's not your time, baby, it's not your time. When's it going to be my time? When's it going to be my Amazon time? I'm going to start putting crazy things on my Amazon wish list, not because I want anything to buy it, because I'm just nuts. Maybe I need to start establishing my own goals so that I have things to seek out for, especially since I plan to move soon. Number 4, I am a lawyer. The state tried to argue that the probable cause exists simply because there is a police report alleging the climb Cryel. From the act that a police officer filed this report, it is a reasonable inference that the crime took place as described. Really? Good. Allegations are self-proving now. Well, wrap up court then. I guess no need to hear any more motions to dismiss either. I wonder why no other prosecutors in 240 years of jurisprudence ever thought of that before. 25-year-old assistant district attorney who went to the worst law school in the state. It failed, and the guy says yes, it did. The police report in question was just a transcription of what complainant told the police. There was no first-hand observation, no admissions, no corroboration, and our argument was that in sum, it constituted no more than an allegation because it had no content that wasn't just complainant said so. Unbelievable. Number 3. Ha! I'm a lawyer. I should win right there. Anyway, win. fucking Redditors. Anyway, we were in trial. We were in trial, and opposing counsel was objecting to a document I was trying to enter into evidence. Though one of their witnesses, through one of their witnesses, Kyle, the witness had identified it as one of their business records, but opposing counsel objects. Jury is in the courtroom, so the judge has us approach. We do, and the opposing counsel argues the authenticity of the document. I was a little surprised. So my response was, Your Honor, this is their exhibit. Is counsel stating that they submitted inauthentic documents to this court? The judge turns to the counsel. Are you submitting non-authentic documents? Opposing counsel stammers out a no, and the document goes in. I was a little surprised they wanted to argue their own document wasn't authentic just to keep me from getting to the jury. Oh my God. Number 2. My God. Former assistant state attorney and prosecutor here. This defendant is called up to the arraignment, and the judge is telling him that he's been charged with theft for stealing a roll of scratch-off tickets from a gas station. Isn't that like a federal thing? Isn't that like a federal thing when you're stealing lottery tickets? The judge informs the defendant that since the value of the tickets was over $300, therefore it's a felony rather than a misdemeanor. He got off lucky. The defendant says the judge, but Your Honor, to be fair, the tickets were all losers, implying it's not theft at all. I was amazed at the ingenious yet futility of the argument. Unbelievable. Number 1. I am a lawyer. The most ridiculous argument I've seen was one I actually made. One of my clients got busted cooking meth. Knew this was coming. This was a very clear-cut case. They actually caught him in the middle of a cook. No way he was getting out of there. Even worse, he was cooking at home and children were there. Yep, the DA loaded him up with felonies. There was no bail, and he was being held in county jail. My client knew he was fucked. He had been planning to get married a few weeks after he got busted. Man, he was just trying to make that money, but with the kids in the house, you cooking that meth? Oh, my client asks me if he can get released for 24 hours so he can still get married. I tell him that I'll ask, but that there's no way in hell that they'll let him out. First, I ask the DA if they will allow it. Nope, they laugh. So I file a motion with the court. Now, I knew the judge was a crusty old conservative family values kind of guy who also has a raging erection for drug crimes. There was no law involved, but I put together the argument about the sanctity of marriage and how the state should encourage marriage at all times, that sort of thing. We have a hearing and I make the argument. The DA is totally opposed and calls it ridiculous, and the judge grants it. The judge actually decided to allow my client out for 24 hours to get married. He had to surrender to the county jail at 8 a.m. the next day and some other conditions, but still he was allowed out. Everyone is stunned. Nobody can believe it. The day of the wedding comes, my client gets out, gets married, then goes back to jail. Everything went exactly like how it was supposed to, which is also pretty shocking. Wholesome felons. That's fucking crazy. Well, I guess I am one of those. In your face, everybody. Making these corny ass lists because I want you to be happy. So what are you doing today? You got shit going on? You know, I just have errands to run as usual. Are these errands for me? Redditors who, no, that's stupid. If you were a Care Bear, what would be on your belly? Okay. You know, this is the type of stupid shit that's on fucking Reddit all the time. You know, I want to make tons of lists, but some of them would be just pathetic in quality. What's the greatest compliment you ever received? Let's go ahead and look at some of the ones that I wouldn't read. Okay, gut feeling, we did that one. Creepy verified found footage. Can't watch that on this video, it'll get flagged, but it's there for you to go check out. What is your go-to? Oh wait, I'm supposed to put the link in the video, so let me copy that link right now. Or to some must-see documentaries, you know. What turns your rage meter up to 99.9 when I do a web search for something that can be answered in a single sentence, and all the results are 10-minute videos. What is up, guys? It's your boy Fagatronic Monkey Liquor coming at you with another video. Before we get it started, don't forget to smash that like button for more jizz licking monkey boy Fagatronic content. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook. I also have an Instagram and a Patreon. Don't forget to go follow me there. I'm the shit, you know. This video is sponsored and brought to you by underwear, you know what I mean? MacLeod makes great underwear, and if you like underwear, you might like them. So without further ado, let's start the video right after my intro. If you like this channel, you might like my other channel where I do cooking and makeup videos. You know what I mean? And then there's a dog barking in the background because IMA's there as well. Bark, 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 bark. Number 2, lists that can only be viewed as slideshows. Oh, you mean like websites where there's like a list and you're just trying to get through what it is, and they're just like, no, you got to reload the next page because we're only putting one thing of this list per page so we can get our page all of the page views. But I just want to make some chicken Alfredo. I wanted to know the best recipe. Fuck you, buddy. Doesn't matter what you want. Only matters about my page views on my old school website. Websites are like the newspapers of the internet. They're dying, and they'll do anything for your clicks. They'll do anything for your clicks, mate. Oh my god. What is a dirty little old or big secret about the industry that you have worked in? Oh shit, well I could do that one.
You thought I was gonna read that right now. Oh, you fucked up.
What is the single best piece of advice you've ever heard? That one's good too. What's the best line from any rap song you've heard? I ain't reading that one, might as well crank that open. Not including my mom. What's some of the worst sex you've ever had? Oh, for the love of God, Reddit. Redditors who rode the bus to and from school, what are the most memorable moments on the bus? Coming 25 bus ride stories. 25 school bus ride stories, according to Reddit. And then I'll start it, and then instead of having the normal music, I just have like this royalty version of the wheels on the bus go round and round without the music. So it's like, and somebody will like, it'll be like this really weird piano arrangement that people won't realize what it is until like too late in the damn song. Oh, that's good. Straight people, how do you react when you're hit on by the same sex? Let's crack that one open right now. Let's get a good look at that. So straight people, 3 ways straight people react to gay sex time. It's not gay sex, they're just hitting on them. Number 1, same way I do when women hit on me. I'm totally oblivious. It's true. Most people are just oblivious. Number 2, it makes me feel pretty good. Personally, I just politely decline. Inform them of my straight as an arrow orientation. Sounds like a... Okay, I had one guy just ask me if he could still buy me a drink and chat. He didn't know anyone at the bar, and I was cute and seemed kind of course. I said yes. Free beer. I ended up skiing, actually downhill skiing, Reddit, with him the next day, introducing him to my friend group and girlfriend. We had a great weekend together. He still visits, gained a real good friend from it. I wish I had gay men that were totally about me, trying to take me on some ski trips. Baby, buy me drinks, baby. You're just kind of cute, you know. No, I'd be fucking horrified, you know what I mean? Better it be a man than a man pretending to be a woman because they had some kind of gross, like, zip flip. Grossness going on down.
Oh, I want to live my life as a woman now, Kyle. Don't you accept me? Don't you want me, baby?
God. Number 3, worked at a restaurant. One of the cooks, Fat Freddy, was gay, 300-pound, 6'2" black man. I was 5'9", 160-pound white kid. He would occasionally say to me when I went to get my orders, one day I'ma tear you up. It was a running joke, and he'd do it the most inopportune times of opportune. What? When he could tell I was having a bad day. One day after a night of drinking, we stopped to get a bite to eat. I see my friend on the other side of the table looking over my shoulder behind me. A second later, I hear, one day I'ma tear you up. Freddy. Hadn't seen him in 2+ years. Somebody said, for a visual, give this guy a mustache and you've got Freddy. This is me right now. He looks like a background character in an office. He looks like a yes man that would be he looks like a guy that you would give a gun to be killed off in like a superhero movie. This guy's in a superhero movie as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that gets shot before the Avengers show up. There you have it. You know, this is this guy's headshot. Casting agents who may be watching this, actually, fuck this guy. If you're casting and you're watching this and you're not getting me any work, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm doing all this work to try and get sexy and take off some weight so I can get in movies because my voice is creamy butter. But they don't want me unless I'm looking sexy malexy at the same time, baby. So I was talking the other day to Emmy about how I came up with this great idea for a product, and it's going to shield your teeth from you vomiting all the time so that you can, lose some weight better via bulimia. I mentioned it to Aime because it's a great idea, and she was all like,
Kyle, it's not funny making fun of bulimia.
like, I'm joking, nigga. Okay, I'm trying to get this thing to protect the teeth so you could just be like, bleh, bleh, bleh. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'll lose a lot of weight. You get what I'm saying? I need to lose the weight. That's a way that works. Nobody's giving me pills that's gonna just like make me shit out all of the weight, you know? I would love a pill that would make you shit the weight off. And then the tagline for the pill could be something like, it might kill you, but it works. You know what I mean? And then they'll have a guy like dipping his like chin to his chest and he's like, it works. You know what I mean? I'm almost sorry. What is this other one? What is the best line from a rap song you've ever heard? The top one is deleted. I'm so tired of Reddit. What's the greatest compliment you've ever received? Number 1, my colleague. I met this person at my previous job. We formed a very tight working relationship, which over the years became a close friendship. This woman is seriously intelligent and takes her career very seriously. I left that job and took a role at a startup. A few months later, at the new job, we were ready to bring in someone with her skill set. We approached her, and after negotiations, she agreed to join us. A bit later, we were in our first meeting together. I thank her for joining. She looks me straight in the eyes and says, "You know you're the reason I joined, right?" Somebody says, sounds like she's your work wife, bro. The thing is, man, I don't know how to, I think I do know where I stand on the whole work wife, work husband thing. And it's that I don't agree with it. I don't even agree with it. You can't flirt with that boundary, I think. I think you can't flirt with the boundary because there's already so much of flirtation that like the second that you start letting that kind of stuff in, you're just taking branches away from the dam, the beaver dam, you know? And that's what it is. Most beaver dams are sturdy as hell, but you take enough branches away, baby. Boo boo. Number 2, the best compliment. Had a bus driver roll down his window and shout, "Hey miss, I still love reading thanks to you," and drove off. I taught him how to read 20 years before. What the fuck? That's hilarious. Number 3, so I grew up in a family of really ill-tempered people. Both my mom and my dad had some bad anger management issues even before they met. And after they get married, they popped out my brother, who unsurprisingly had the same problem. Then I came along into a house full of people shouting at each other over the smallest things. I saw how horrible that made everyone feel, so being the little rebel that I was, I decided not to end up like them. I wanted to be calmer, more controlled, so I thought I would end up making everyone's lives miserable. That's what I ended up dedicating my life to. One day when I was like 9 or 10, I was over at my friend Jake's house. We were playing some kind of basketball game on his PS2, and it was really close. He never beat me before, and we both knew how close he was to changing that. After one of the most intense sessions of gaming I've ever had, Jake ends up winning and literally jumps into the air and starts whooping. Instinctively, I do the same thing. We hug, I tell him how awesome that was, and we kiss. And our erections touch. I'm kidding. I'm just spicing up this boring ass story. Jake kind of pauses. You're so fucking rude, Coyote. Jake kind of pauses and says, "You know, it's really cool how you're fine if you win or lose." And then he pulls me close. I'm kidding. I sort of just brushed him off jokingly, but he had no idea how happy that made me feel. If it were my brother he was playing with, no doubt he would throw the controller against the wall and storm out of the house. It was at that moment I knew that I had succeeded in not falling in the same trap as the rest of my family. Somebody said this is probably my favorite. It's my favorite too. This is some wholesome shit right here. And that's what matters, you know? That's what matters. It's one thing to like try to shove it down other people's throats and shit, but to have somebody on the outside notice exactly what you're doing, that's what's up, you know? That's what's up. Because you don't, you know, God. Let somebody else be the one to notice it for you. Number 4, I was making out with a girl that I thought was way above my league. Then I said, "I'm so lucky to get to kiss a man as handsome." Then she said, "I'm so lucky to get to kiss a man as handsome as you." Best evening ever. I'm not that good looking. God, oh my God, get good looking. I want to be so sexy, please. Oh, I can't live the life of all these pretty people. Look at them. Oh my God. Fuck a doodle doo. Oh my God. Virgins of Reddit, why are you still a virgin? They should have serious this. Somebody said age 13, why am I 13? Oh, age 13, why I'm 13. Didn't stop a lot of these people. Number 2, I live in a country where it's illegal to be gay. Getting gay with kids is here. So spread the word and fuck them in the rear. Sorry. We're done here, guys. I love you to death, but, you know, I just felt like I was gypping you by not making the video longer. I don't know. I'll play Horizon Zero Dawn and unwind now or something. Today I fucked up by not finding a better place to hide my beer. And then there's a picture of the dog. And then an obligatory edit that says, "Wow, front page." God damn it, is it a cesspool of fuckboys on that fucking subreddit. Amputee demonstrates how to put contact lens in. I can't watch it. Horizon Zero Dawn beats Zelda to number 1 in the UK. Oh my God, Horizon Zero Dawn is Sony's biggest PS4 franchise debut, says Yoshida. It's so great, guys. It's the best game ever. Which is why I'm going to play it right now. Join me in that stream, why don't you? Join me in that stream. Bing bong. Okay, let's go ahead and end this video.